problem is there's no scapegoat in society. And we are giving our children too many excuses not to be responsible for themselves. And we wonder why the jails are filling up. Yeah, white supremacy, without question, miseducation, economic castration. But we got to look at the role of lack of responsibility in crime too. I spend a lot of time in jails, and there's a lot of folk in there simply because they didn't have no damn self-control. You learn that at home. And if you're raising a black boy, your number one responsibility is to teach him discipline. That's your number one thing, is to teach him discipline. Because if that boy doesn't have discipline by the time he leave your house at 18 or 21, I can almost predict he's going to spend some time in jail. No sexual discipline, no financial discipline, no emotional discipline, no academic discipline, no industrial discipline. I don't want to work. I don't want to learn. I don't want to control my sexual appetite. I don't want to control my emotions. Teach him discipline, or the white man will be waiting for him. Period, point blank, and end of story. The next disorder is emotional disturbance. So we talked about the learning disability. Let me go back to mental retardation. Let me explain why so many black children are diagnosed with it. When we talk about the intelligence test, and it is the intelligence test that we use to determine if a child is mentally retarded. The intelligence test has 4 scales on it, which result in 4 scores. And from these 4 scores, we get an overall IQ score. So when you say your child has a 100 IQ score, you're talking about the overall IQ. But that overall IQ came from 4 other scales. There is processing speed, how quickly your child can solve problems. There is working memory, how well your child can hold information in their mind and execute upon it. There's nonverbal reasoning, how well your child can solve problems for which they've received no previous education. All 3 of those are universal scales: memory, working memory, processing speed, nonverbal reasoning. Black, white, rich, poor, children do equally well on those if they don't have a serious type of an issue. The 4th scale is what accounts for the racial bias, the cultural discrimination, and that is the verbal comprehension index scale. The verbal comprehension scale of the IQ test is the scale that accounts for why white children do better than black children on these tests. The problem is when they talk about this in the newspaper, and when they talk about this on CNN, they don't demystify it so you understand it. They just say the white kids are 15 points smarter than the black kids, so the black children must be intellectually deficient. They don't demystify. They don't tell you that black children do just as well as whites on the 3 other scales, that the only scale where they struggle is verbal comprehension. And what is verbal comprehension? These are the words and ideas and definitions that white people use that are normally foreign to the average black child's vocabulary, even if they are middle class. That's how they trip our kids up. It's vocab, it's concepts, it's definitions. Okay?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share, and also comment. So guys, I want us to continue watching and listening to this powerful message from Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson, he's coming out and send a powerful message to all black people, telling black people how their children, they are being sidelined in the United States. And also he's revealing the challenges and the struggle that the black Americans, they are facing in United States, the kind of racism they're going through, and also the less opportunity that are being given to their children and the low scores that they are being given to the black children. So kindly guys, watch this video till the end, then I'll be back with more comment.
And I would add to that, that verbal comprehension has nothing to do with intelligence. Verbal comprehension is dependent on the quality of education you received. Working memory, that's intelligence. That's not dependent on previous learning experience. Processing speed, that's intelligence. That's not dependent on previous learning experience. Nonverbal reasoning, that's intelligence. It's not dependent on previous learning experience. But verbal comprehension, definitions, vocab, that's based on previous learning experience. So then your next question would probably be, if that scale is responsible for why my child doesn't do as well as the children of other culture, and it has nothing to do with intelligence, why not take it out of the IQ test? Why not replace it with something else that is universal? Or why not just get rid of it altogether and leave the 3 other scales? Because you can derive an IQ score from the 3 other scales. You don't need verbal comprehension. You can get an IQ score from 3 scales. We don't need the 4th. So why not just take that out? Because if they take that out, it eliminates the white privilege that European children are naturally given on these tests. You're testing in my language. You're testing to my vocab. You're testing to my socioeconomic status. White privilege. If you take out the vocab, you take out white privilege. And now you potentially have a situation in America where the black children are earning higher IQ scores than the white children. So they will never take that out. Because if they take that out, that eliminates the reason why they give the test in the first place, which is to give a false impression that white children are more intelligent. And they have to give a false impression that white children are more intelligent to justify why so few blacks are in medical school, to justify why so few blacks are in law school, to justify why so few blacks own engineering firms and construction plants. The IQ test helps to explain away racism by putting the burden on the intellectual ability of black people. If you take out the racial bias, you might as well get rid of the test. Because the only purpose of the test, and if any of you are wondering why they test so much, our kids are always being tested and tested and tested because the test score, I don't care if you're talking IQ, SAT, Nevada State Assessment, the test score is the new Jim Crow sign. I'm gonna say that again. The test score is the new Jim Crow sign. I'm gonna say it one more time. The test score is the new Jim Crow sign. What are you talking about? I'm talking about 60 years ago, if you wanted to go to a certain college, they would say whites only, colored only. They can't do that no more. Still racist, but you got to make it look scientific. So instead of saying your child can't come to the University of Nevada because they're black, you say your child can't come to the University of Nevada because the SAT score was too low. Are y'all following me? Instead of saying you can't go to med school because you're black, we'll say you can't go to med school because your MCAT score is too low. Instead of saying you can't go to law school because you're black, now we use a number. We look at what the average score is for black folk who take the test, and we set the admission score at a score that's higher than what the average black person does. And that way you effectively keep black folk out without saying white only. You just use a test score. You got to understand this. This is the new racism. They use numbers instead of words because the numbers look like it's not racist, and the numbers look like it's not biased, and the numbers look like it doesn't discriminate. But it does the job just as effectively, if not more effectively. Testing is done in America to exclude certain groups of people from opportunity. Let me give you an example. You want to be a firefighter here in Reno. You go down to the firehouse, you say, hey, I want to become a fireman. They put you through the fire program, right? And they give you a test. Does that test predict how good of a fireman you can be? Does that test determine whether you can do your job well or not? No, it doesn't. That test doesn't tell the city anything about your ability to be an effective fireman. So if this test does not reveal my potential, my skill, my intellectual level, why do I have to take a test to be a fireman? Because it keeps black people out. Does the SAT test tell Harvard or Yale or Princeton or the University of Pennsylvania how well your child is going to do in college? Does it tell them whether or not your child is going to finish college? No, it does not. So why is every child in America expected to take the SAT test? Because it keeps black children out. And by the way, who invented the SAT test? Carl Brigham. Do your research on Carl Brigham, a white racist eugenicist who advocated the systematic extermination of black people. He is the inventor of the SAT test, people. All of this is racism. All of this is racism. But the new racism is to make it look like there is no racism. The new racism is to make it look like there is no racism. That's why Obama was made president. He said he was fighting for a change we can believe in. And that's exactly what you got. Michael Brown, a change you can believe in. Trayvon Martin, a change you can believe in. Worst unemployment rate for black folk in over 30 years. A change you can believe in. Highest dropout rate since the first Bush. A change you can believe in. Because you don't understand white supremacy. You thought voting for Obama meant a change in the American power structure's relationship with the black community. Are you crazy? A change you can believe in. And the saddest thing, what really bothers me about President Obama, he did nothing for black children this whole time he was in office. LGBTQ gave them landmark registration laws. Gay folk got more progress in 5 years under Obama than black folk got in 500. Illegal immigrants, landmark legislation. Latino, landmark legislation. White women, Equal Pay Act. What did black folks get? Nothing. Just what you deserve. Nothing. Because you don't fall in love with politicians. Big mistake we made. I called it 8 years ago. When Obama get out of office, we're going to be worse off than when he went in because you fallen in love with a politician. That's ignorance. I hope we learned our lesson. You don't fall in love with elected officials. You come to agreements with elected officials with money and voting power. That's what you do. You use them like they use you. But black folks, politically ignorant as we are, turned it into a religious thing. Voting for Obama became a religious movement. Pastors all across America talking about, yeah, God predicted this. God sent Obama. In the mosque, God sent Obama. I'm tired of it, quite honestly, because we keep letting white folk outthink us. We just keep on letting. They're going to do it again. They say you Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. You go floating again. Question is, when do we learn from it and start changing our political behavior? Well, first of all, you can't change your politics until you change your spending habits. Boom. As long as we remain conspicuous consumers, we will get nothing. Votes do not control money. Money controls votes. If you ain't got no money, you ain't going to get nothing done by the people in office. Pow. I don't care if their name is Obama, Bush, Hillary Clinton, or whoever else. So let me get back to education because we're going to deal with that tomorrow. Autism. Autism, autism. Autism is real. It is a real disorder. And you know why so many of our children are being diagnosed with it? Because of these immunizations that we're giving them. Shots. Shots, shots, shots. You better think twice before immunizing your child these days. Because there's chemicals in these shots now that are messing up the neurological development of the children. And that's why most of us see our children appear to be quite normal up until age 2. But from 2 to 5, they change. Because it's those second set of shots that they expect you to give your child that's responsible for most of the neurological impairment that the shots are causing. I'm 40 years old. So if you're my age or older or a little bit younger, You never had an autistic classmate in school, did you? Most of us never had an autistic classmate. Kindergarten through 12th grade, college, grad school, doctorate school. Never had an autistic classmate. But the children in the room today, they're likely to have about 6 or 7 of them by the time they graduate from high school. Once upon a time, you couldn't find a black autistic person. Before 1970, you could hardly find a black autistic child. Now they pop it up every other day. Immunizations. My youngest daughter, she's not immunized, and she will not be getting immunized because black folk don't need white people chemicals to stay healthy. And for the life of me, I'm trying to understand why we letting folks who trying to get rid of us put stuff in our baby's arms so they can live longer. That doesn't even make sense to me. Black folk have been marked for extermination, but we're going to let somebody put something in our baby's arm that's supposed to help them stay healthy. You're crazy, not the doctor. You are. And by the way, in America, they cannot force you to immunize your child to go to school. I hope y'all know this. A lot of people say, well, they don't get shots, they can't go to school. That is incorrect. That is a lie. It is false. I know for a fact because I work in education. I know, and I know ed law. I know they cannot make you immunize your child. But you have to tell them that you know your rights. You can't ask permission. If you ask permission, then they're going to tell you, yeah, he got to have it be immunized because you asking me. So I'm going to tell you. You have to let them know that there is no state law that obligates me to immunize my child if it's against family belief. You can download an immunization exemption form from the county board of health. You can get one from the medical doctor. Some medical doctors won't give them though, because if your child is not immunized, insurance won't cover that doctor in the event of a malpractice lawsuit. So most pediatricians are going to want you to immunize your children because they won't be able to service that child. Well, they could, but they won't be covered by insurance if you decide to sue. And the third thing, you can just get a notarized letter, an affidavit. Take that to the school. My child will not be immunized. It's against personal family belief. It's my right to choose, and I'm choosing no. Notarized letter. Life goes on. There's only 2 states that require immunization, Mississippi and West Virginia. This is Nevada. Mississippi and West Virginia. This is California. Mississippi and West Virginia. This is Oregon. So if you tell me that the school told you your child had to get shots, it's because you let the school bully you against your own rights. They're not going to lay down because you know the law. You got to let them know that you're going to respect my right to choose. They do the same thing with special ed. If you don't let us test your son, he can't come back. That's illegal. They say it all the time because they know you're going to believe whatever they tell you. Part of our post-traumatic slavery disorder is believing whatever white folks say. If they said it, it must be right because they said it. Now, even though autism is real, a lot of black children are misdiagnosed with it because some other conditions can look like autism even though they're not, such as a hearing impairment. If your child got a problem hearing, they can very much appear to be autistic. If your child has tubes stuck in their ears that you never got pulled out, trifling, they can very much look autistic. Okay? If your child has been traumatized, verbal abuse, sex abuse, physical abuse, trauma will look like autism. Okay? Social mute, a child who chooses not to speak for whatever reason. Selective mutism, a condition where the child doesn't speak. It could be due to trauma. It could be due to low self-esteem. It could be due to confidence. But some children don't speak because they don't feel like talking. It looks like autism, but it's selective mute. Comes right out of this book. So what is my philosophy on evaluating young children? If we look at the young princess over there, we look at the young prince over there. If they parent told me, I think my child got a mental illness or learning disability, I would ask them, why do you feel the need to get them tested right now? Why do you need a 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old tested right now? What are you expecting to get from that? Here we go again, being ignorant, just doing stuff because it's available. Nothing good going to come from testing them at that age. First of all, I can't even get an accurate read at that age because they're so young that the mind is still developing and growing exponentially. It's no way I can determine effectively if one of them are autistic. So why don't we just be patient, give them some time to grow, evaluate them a little later. Well, the school don't want you to be patient, because they want that special ed money. The teacher don't want you to be patient. They want them out the classroom. And some of us don't want to be patient because we want an SSI check. So the reason we're often rushing to get our kids evaluated is not for the child. Has nothing to do with them. It's about pocket change for the school, pocket change for the parent, pocket change for the psychiatrist, pocket change for the social worker, pocket change for the therapist, pocket change for the psychiatrist. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, psychology and psychiatry have become capitalism's greatest form of exploitation. And why is psychology and psychiatry capitalism's greatest form of exploitation? If you sell cars, you have to have a certain amount of capital in order to produce your automobile. If you sell clothes, you got to have a certain amount of capital to produce your clothing. If you sell pocketbooks, you got to have a certain amount of capital to produce your pocketbooks. If you sell cosmetics, lotion, soap, lipstick, you got to have a certain amount of money to produce your product. But with psychology and psychiatry, the products are invisible. You don't need any startup capital to get rich pimping black folk in the name of disability. Are y'all following me? ADHD cannot be touched. You don't need no startup capital to make money off of ADHD. The learning disability cannot be touched. You don't need any startup capital to make money. Only in psychology and psychiatry can you make billions of dollars off of a product that nobody can see, touch, taste, or smell. Make it up out of thin air. Boom. ADHD. Let's talk about that for a minute. Ain't no daddy at home disorder. Ain't no daddy at home disorder. ADHD. Ain't no daddy at home disorder. 85% of black boys diagnosed with this made up glow in the dark Marvel comic disease don't have a father figure in their life. ADHD. When did we get ADHD? Well, first we had ADD. There was no ADHD. It was ADD. In 1990, I believe it was. In the year 2000, it went from ADD to ADHD. Why did they drop ADD? Attention deficit disorder. Why was that drop? Because there's no drug that can make, come on in family, there's seats, come on in. After you sign in, feel free to have a seat. There's no drug that can make your child pay attention. The drugs only do what? Slow the brain down. It does not make the brain focus. So ADD by itself was affecting Wall Street profits. So they got rid of ADD and came up with ADHD, added the word hyper. By adding the word hyper, you legitimize prescription for everybody with the diagnosis. Ain't no daddy at home, because the daddy's responsibility was to teach the discipline. When the mom is responsible for teaching the discipline, all due respect to the ladies, that's not a natural responsibility of a mother. You're maternal. You're feminine. Your job is to love and to nurture. The man's job is to patrol and control. And when the man is not in that home, the discipline program gets left behind And you get white folk making money off the fact that daddy's not home. Now look at the hypocrisy now. America has the highest incarceration rate on the planet. And most men, black men in jail, are in jail for nonviolent drug-related offenses. In other words, he was selling crack and speed and heroin on the street. And he was selling crack and speed and heroin on the street because he couldn't find a decent job through which he could earn enough to take care of his family. So they locked him up 5-10 years mandatory minimum sentence for selling narcotics, right? He broke the law. It's wrong to sell drugs, right? Drugs are bad. Nancy Reagan, just say no, right? But they'll take the same drug that locked his father up. Check it out. The same drug that daddy was sent to jail for selling, they will give it to his son so he can sit still long enough to learn about Christopher Columbus. Ritalin and crack are one molecule away from each other. Ritalin is the exact same substance as speed that is sold on the corner. Ritalin is speed. Now, some of you are going to say, if Ritalin is speed, Dr. Johnson, that doesn't make sense because my child is hyper. So the medicine they give him is supposed to slow him down. But speed is an upper. Ritalin is an upper. So why are they giving a hyper child a stimulant instead of a depressant, a neurological depressant? The answer, brothers and sisters, is because they found out that if you overstimulate the brain, it goes into a sort of a shock where it automatically calms the child down. In other words, every time your son takes a pill, brain damage is being affected on that child. All the drugs work by going into the area between the neuron and the synapse. The synapse is the space. Our brains communicate like we communicate. Voice to person, person to person. So you got all these cells in the brain, and the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act is because one cell sends a neurotransmitter a message to another cell, who sends a neurotransmitter a message to another cell. So the drugs come into the synapse, they gap between the neurons, and they block. The drugs block the natural process of the brain. So whenever he takes Ritalin, whenever he takes Adderall, whenever he takes Concerta, whenever he takes Metadate, whenever he takes Cyclert, whenever he takes Risperdal, brain damage is in effect. But let me go a step further. The drugs cannot localize their effect. What do I mean when I say the drugs cannot localize their effect? If I give Princess here some medicine for depression, she's depressed. We ain't going to deal with why. We just going to medicate the depression. Are y'all following me? He's ADHD. We're not going to deal with why. We just going to medicate the symptoms. So nobody ever gets better. Nobody gets better because nobody's dealing with the cause. And why do they not deal with the cause? Because if we reverse the cause, there's no longer a need for the psychologist. There's no longer a need for the psychiatrist. There's no longer a need for the medicine. You stop the financial machine. Mental health ain't helping nobody. How many of us know people who've been getting therapy for 30 years and still crazy as hell? How many of us got kids who got a wraparound? They got a behavior specialist. They got a mobile therapist. They got an inpatient therapist. They got an intensive case manager. And still crazy. Because mental health is the new hustle. Mental health is the new hustle. Nobody's helping these children. Now, let me read you the criteria for ADHD. Listen to this and tell me what you think of this. This is the criteria. If you get my book tonight, it's in there. Okay? Fails to give close attention to detail, has difficulty sustaining attention, does not listen when spoken to, does not follow through on instructions, has difficulty organizing tasks, is reluctant to engage in tasks that require sustained mental effort. Since when do children engage in sustained mental effort? How many of us in this room right now can engage in sustained mental? I've never engaged in sustained mental effort. When I was going through college, I had to take regular breaks because I ain't got that type of mind that can be on something for an hour straight. Are y'all following me? So why are we expecting children to engage in sustained mental effort? They are babies. Babies don't do that. Loses things necessary to complete tasks, is easily distracted, taps or fidgets with the hands or feet, leaves their seat when they're supposed to stay seated, runs or climbs when it's inappropriate. Runs or climbs when it's inappropriate. We're talking about children, right? How the hell does a child know that running and playing is not appropriate in here? Unless somebody tells them that. Then we have is often on the go, talks excessively, blurts out answers, has difficulty waiting their turn, interrupts on other people when they're talking, and has trouble playing quietly. What child plays quietly? I'm reading straight from the criteria, brothers and sisters. So if you want to know why we got so many black kids diagnosed with ADHD, it's because the definition is nothing more than normal behavior. I just read normal behavior. Everything I just gave you, every child does, because it's part of being a child. So you know what they've done in America? You know what they've done? They've made being a black boy a disease itself. They've made being a normal black boy a disease itself. And let us be clear, why do our boys have so much trouble adjusting to public education, charter education, parochial education, white private school education? Do you know why our boys struggle so much? It's because the schools are run by women on a female culture with female expectations. And if you're not able to conduct yourself like a female child, you will be marginalized and objectified as a problem child. That's the problem with school. A masculine boy is going to have issues in school because schools cater to the female child. Who expects a boy to sit still for 7 hours straight? A lady can do that because she has estrogen. She doesn't have testosterone. And it's even difficult for girls. But girls are socialized to be inactive. Boys are socialized to be active. Not to mention that African children come from a rhythmic culture that prizes activity while you learn. We learn better when we moving around. We learn better when we can conversate in dialogue. That's our culture. But when you go to school, you're just supposed to sit there and be lectured to for 7 hours straight. And if you can't sit still, you have a problem. You see what they've done? They're blaming the children for what the schools don't do. They're blaming the children for what the schools don't do. That's the problem with school. Black boy wants to learn. Black boy wants an education, but he don't want to be castrated in the process. He don't want to be disrespected, impugned, and denigrated by racist white female teachers and reactionary black female teachers. Let me not leave out the Negroes. Because I'll be honest, most of the time I'm fighting for our children, I'm fighting black principals, not white ones. And I'm fighting black principals who came from the same ghettos as the children that they're supposed to be helping. I'm giving it to you real. I'm a principal myself. Even when I was principal, I had to fight black parents. I want my son tested, Dr. Johnson. For what? Learning disability. Your son is in the 3rd grade. What do you mean? I think he got a learning problem. Well, the boy only been in my school for 1 year. In the school he came from, nobody learned. They ain't made AYP since AYP started. So why don't you give me a chance to work with your son? I want him tested. I'm not testing him because there ain't nothing wrong with him. His problem is your trifling ass. Get out my office. I'm honest with parents. I Joe Clark the whole situation. Because you're not going to hustle your baby for me. I know why you really want him tested. You want that check. You want that crazy check. Everybody hustling a crazy check. Even the grown folks hustling a crazy check. Well, I got news for you. Especially my single parent mamas. You playing schizophrenic, getting a psychotic disorder so you can get $700 a month? Guess what's going to happen? The minute that school wants you to put that boy in special ed or on drugs and you don't agree with that school, they're going to call Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services is going to do the research. They're going to find out that you got a psychotic disorder for which you taking medicine. Now, it ain't real, but you play crazy to get the crazy check. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to come to your house and they're going to threaten you. And they're going to say, put them on the medicine or we taking your children because we've determined that you're not psychologically fit to raise these kids. Now, you're not crazy. You just pimped the system for a check. But because your ass was greedy, they're going to now use it to force you to put your son in special ed on medicine. It happens all over the country. You can't use white supremacy to fight it. It will not fight itself. So y'all need to be careful about that. Now, we have mental retardation, the learning disability, autism, emotional disturbance, ED. In some states, they call it SED, serious emotional disturbance. Never let the school test your child for a behavior problem. Never let the school test your child for a behavior problem. You're hard-headed, so I got to say it again. Never let the school test your child for a behavior problem. Why you say that, Dr. Umar? Because there's only one special ed label, only one. If you tell me this teacher called me and asked permission if they could test my son or daughter for a behavior problem, there's only one thing they're looking for. Because there's only one label in special ed that deals with behavior and emotion, and that is emotional disturbance. So my question to you, why would you let them label your child as emotionally disturbed? Do you realize that is the most dichotomizing title out there? ED, the boy is emotionally disturbed. So when he goes to the new school, they see that in his record. They don't even know what it's for. It just sounds like he crazy as hell, right? And you know what they're going to do? They're going to put him in the emotional support class. Have you ever seen one of the emotional support classes in Reno? It looks just like a jail, because it is a jail. It's called, this is where we're going to put him till he's old enough to drop out, get locked up, or get killed. Emotional disturbance is for black boys that the system has already decided won't be nothing but a corpse in life. You never let the school test for behavior. And if the school keeps on complaining about your son's behavior, what's the first thing you're supposed to do? Number one, always tell them to give you their complaints in writing all the time. Forget the telephone conversation. I need this in writing. If you want me to do something about it, I need it in writing. That's how you deal with schools. Stop all this verbal. Because educational law says that if it's not documented, it never happened. Well, the principal told me she wasn't going to suspend my son no more. Can you show me on paper? She didn't give me it on paper. It never happened. Black folks, we never asked for stuff on paper. White culture is based on documentation. If you want to beat them at their own game, you have to have yours. You want my son tested? I need that on paper. I want to know why you want him tested. By the way, if the school wants your child tested, they're required by law to try to help the child improve without special ed. I don't know if y'all know this. Special education is the last thing you're supposed to try. Special education is the last thing. The last thing. We should have had tutoring. We should have had academic intervention. Special ed is the last thing. But I bet you what they're doing in Reno, It ain't the last thing. It's the first thing. It's the first thing. And you know what's so sad? These schools who want your child in special education get money for Title I service. You know what Title I service? That's money that came out of Lyndon Baines Johnson's 1965 War on Poverty's Elementary and Secondary Education Act. They give schools money, millions, to do what? Help a child improve their math and their reading skill. Most kids are in special ed for what? Math and reading. But the school gets Title I money for what? Math and reading. So you as the parent have to let the principal know, don't you get Title I? If my son is behind, it means he needs a tutor. Well, yes, but he's 3 grade levels behind. He's in the 6th grade, reading on the 3rd grade level. We think he has a disability. Okay, I got a question for you, Miss Principal. What is the average reading level of the students in my son's classroom? What is the average reading level of the other students in my son's classroom? What is the average reading level of the other students in my son's classroom? You know why you want to ask this question? Because I'm willing to bet all the black boys in that class are all reading on the 3rd grade level. Are y'all following me? They all in the same place. But you chose to single my son out for special ed when all of them are reading deficient. And what does the research say? The research says the children that are singled out are normally done so based on the teacher's perception of the parent's socioeconomic status. The poorer the house, the more likely the child to be suspended. The racist conception being that his mom ain't got no damn job anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem suspending him every day. Are y'all following me? And this is why for my mothers, even if you single parent, even if you unemployed, I wouldn't tell the school that. Where's his daddy? He's out of town right now on an assignment from his job. I would never tell the school my son's daddy is in jail. I would never. Because if they know you doing it all by yourself, they're going to put extra pressure on you to go along with special ed and medicine. Stop giving them the keys to your child's coffin. I would never tell them that. If you unemployed, you don't tell them that. I got 3 jobs. Because if you say you home during the day, and this what, well, you know, I don't work till night. I'm home all day long. So if you need me to come in here and check him, oh my God, do you know what you just did? You just told these damn white folks that you ain't working during the day. Now you're going to be getting called every morning. They're going to pass their responsibility off to you. Stop telling the school your business. The school is an extension of the criminal justice system. And just like any police officer, the teacher is a cop. And anything you tell the teacher can and will be used against you and your child. Even the nice black ones. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I had to tell my teachers, stop discussing the child's business with other teachers. That's illegal. But when they go in that teacher's lounge, everything you told them becomes gossip conversation with all the other teachers in the building. Now everybody in the damn school know your business because you talking too much. Well, you know, I just had surgery and I'm going to be... What you telling them that for? They not your friends. And then we got teachers who don't give out homework. This is the new thing. If y'all be good, y'all ain't got to do no homework. So the reward for good behavior is miseducation. I wish your teacher would tell me my daughters don't get no homework. No, they get homework. What's wrong with you? These are black children who are going to have to work twice as hard as everybody else in order to make it. And you letting them off easy? These kids ain't got no room not to be getting homework. You mean to tell me your kids go to a school with one of the worst academic profiles in the whole state of Nevada and they ain't got no damn homework? What is this, a school to prison pipeline y'all running in here? And then you got some schools who say stuff like this. We don't give out homework in our school. We believe everything a child needs, they can get it from 8 to 3. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? First of all, the average teacher 90-minute block of instruction, might be lucky if they get the 45 minutes of it. They're going to have to keep stopping for behavior problems. They're going to have to stop for announcements. They're going to have to stop for phone calls. They're going to have to stop because people got to go to the bathroom. That 90-minute block of time became 45 minutes. So 7 hours of school is really only 3 hours of teaching. Are y'all following me? How the hell they ain't got no homework? You know why they ain't got no homework? Because they got black parents at home who like that kind of stuff. Mommy, I don't have homework at my school. Negro stuff. If your child come home without homework, you give them something. Every one of you got kids at home, 1 hour of sustained silent reading every night in the house. Turn off Scandal, turn off Empire, Basketball Wives, turn all that foolish Negro coonery stuff off and make them take out a book. 1 hour, it should be longer, but I'm gonna let you go with an hour. Every night from 7 to 8, we read in this house. Turn your cell phones off, turn the TV, radio, internet, nothing is on but your brain from 7 to 8. Y'all have to do this. And make sure the book that your child reads is instructional, not mastery and not frustration. Let me explain this. It's real simple. Frustration means the book is too hard, the child can't even try to read it. Mastery, the book is too easy, it ain't challenging the child. Are y'all following me? Some of your kids are going to want to read books they didn't already read. Hell no. You're going to get something new. And the older they get, the more it should be non-fictional book. Are y'all following me? Not Harry Potter and Spider-Man. No, read some real information. Because Harry Potter and Spider-Man and Marvel Comics ain't got the type of words that your child gonna see on that test. Are y'all following me? Make your child read, but they closing down libraries all across the country in black neighborhoods because we don't take our kids to the library to do anything other than check out CDs, DVDs, and check their social network pages. That's why I'm trying to open up a school. The Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey RBG International Leadership Academy for the boys and the Anna Douglas Amy Garvey RBG International Leadership Academy for the young women. I'm doing this because I'm not satisfied with the African-centered schools out there. I'm not satisfied with just having homeschooling. In order for us to fix our situation, we have to socialize a whole new generation of African children the right way so they can think, feel, and behave in ways that are progressive and conducive to African innovation, liberation, and upliftment. So what are we going to do at the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy? We're going to teach your child agricultural and agronomical science. How to grow and to plant. Get down in the soil, take them fake fingernails off, and dig your damn hands in that earth. We're going to teach you how to grow, how to feed yourself, how to test the soil for nutritional content, how to make money selling food, real food, not McDonald's. And then we're going to teach them financial science. In the 9th grade, your child will have a business plan. In the 10th grade, they will have mastered the real estate market of Nevada. In the 11th grade, they will already have a stock portfolio. And at 15, 16 years old, they're trading stocks and investments as a teenager. In other words, I'm going to show them that you can get rich without a college degree. While black people still sending their kids to college like it's an automatic thing you're supposed to do. You don't automatically send a black kid to college. The only thing you're guaranteed to get from college is debt to the bank, student loans. Student loans. Crushing black folk all over America. Student loans. And the price of college keep on going up. It was on the front cover, U.S. News and World Report last month. The price of college, is it worth it? This is white folks now. Now, if you got white folks talking about is it worth it, then you know what black folks better be saying. Hell no. Your child go to the University of Nevada, $80,000 education. He got a bachelor's degree. He can't find a job. He go back for a master's degree. That's an extra $40,000. Now he owe $120,000. He can't find a job. He go back, get a second master's. Now you owe $160,000. Still can't find a job. Go back, get a doctorate. Now he owe $250,000. First he was underqualified. Now he come back with his doctorate and the white folks tell him what? You overqualified. How about we just wasn't going to hire your black ass? No, this is what they do to black folk. White folk have set it up where we got all the degrees and they got all the damn money. Black folks, we got all the degrees, smart, but broke. And the white folk got all the money. This is what they done. Because they told us, if you get your education, you get economic opportunity. They lied to us. And one of the things we got to fight for is for them to return the industrial building trade programs back to the black high schools. Plumbing got to come back. Carpentry got to come back. HVAC, computer networking got to come on back. Auto body, auto mechanic program got to come on back. Have you ever noticed when you're driving through Reno, you look at the new construction sites that are being built? Have you seen the color of the people building them? Almost no black labor on publicly funded construction sites. Why? Because black folk think they're too good to work with their hands. We want to send all our kids to college for, so they can get degrees in Beethoven and stuff. Okay? Astronomy, no job. So in my school, we're going to have the trades, and we're going to have the scholarships. A child will have to be master of one of each. They've created a dichotomy in the black community where you are either a psychologist or a plumber. Why is there an either or? Why are you not a psychologist and a plumber? Why are you not a surgeon and a painter? And what is the difference between the two? The difference between the two is if you have a degree from college, that degree only works for you if white folks are looking to hire you. Because college degrees prepare you for jobs that white folk need. Are y'all following me? I'm a psychologist. Ain't no damn black folk looking for one of those. So if I was not needed in the system, my daughters would not eat. So our children have to have a contingency. So if nobody's hiring the surgeons and the historians and the psychologists and the engineers, if no white folk are hiring you, you can still go feed your family because you got a skill. I could go fix cars in the hood right now. Y'all follow me? I can go fix some homes up, plumbing right now. I know some people in the hood who need some work done in their house, carpentry. I'm certified. I can go do that right now. When you have a trade, you can always eat. What did I say? 2 million black folk with degrees can't find a job? No trades. If they had trades, they would be able to eat. Not a lot, but enough to keep them bills paid. We sending children to college who don't even want to be there. We sending children to college who ain't got no discipline. If your son barely went to school in high school, if he barely did his homework in high school, if he barely passed in high school, what the hell you think gonna happen when he get to UCLA? Flunk the hell out the first semester. Smoke some weed, get somebody pregnant, and get kicked out for academic probation. Black males have the worst retention rate. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. You can't find brothers in college unless they there to throw basketballs and catch them. Because most of our young men are not being taught, prepared with the basics necessary to succeed in college. Many of them are being influenced to go into the military. This is what they did. They set it up like this. We're going to make sure they have no jobs in the neighborhood. We're going to make sure they ain't got the grades to go to college. So and they're not good enough to play sports. They're not good enough to rap their way out the hood. They can't be LeBron or Jay-Z. So it's only one thing left. Come and fight for white supremacy in a foreign land. How many young black men we read about in the newspaper every week coming back dead? Infantry. You going into the army and you ain't got no college degree or trade under your belt? Infantry. The worst thing you could do is send a black kid from high school straight into the military. They're going to put them on the front line and stick a gun in their hands. Infantry. Expendable soldier. And the high schools ain't telling them. I'm trying to tell them. I went to a military high school. I try to tell these young folk, listen, well, Dr. Umar, I want to be a Marine. Okay, listen. I wish I met you when you was younger because I don't know who allowed you to grow up with that mindset any damn way. But you want to be a Marine? do me a favor. Go and get you a trade under your belt or get you an associate's degree at the community college. Please don't go straight from high school because they're going to steer you right into the infantry. You are the first to die. And now we got ROTC programs popping up in all the high schools, teaching them to be soldiers in high school. Y'all see them all around. It's a shame because the kids love it because they love the structure. They love the honor. We should be giving them that ourselves. They got to go to white folks' ROTC program in order to get some type of discipline and honor. Children crave discipline, believe it or not. They crave it. That's why we got gangs. A gang is a surrogate family. Children who don't feel like they got a family will go join one. It's called gangs. There will always be gangs as long as there are dysfunctional black families. There will always be gangs as long as there are dysfunctional black families. There will always be gangs as long as there are fatherless black boys. There will always be gangs when there's nothing productive for our sons to do in the neighborhood. Gangs give them a father. Gangs give them an identity. Gangs give them a purpose. Gangs give them everything mommy and daddy are not. It's a surrogate family. Speech and language impairment. This is a disorder in a child who cannot speak, express themselves effectively, or understand effectively, assuming that they are proficient in the English language. If a child is Spanish, Latino, and they're not fluent in English, they should not be in special ed for speech and language. But I guarantee you, the schools in Reno have Mexican and Latino kids all in special ed. You know why? Because when you are an English language learner, the school has to go out and hire an ESOL teacher. ESOL means you're learning English as a second language. There's a teacher that teaches English language learners. It's known as the ESOL teacher. But if that school don't want to hire one, you know what they're going to do? Just stick them in special ed. Say they got a disability. And that's how we're going to deal with the English language learners. In South Philadelphia, we have a large African immigrant population. And guess what the Philadelphia public schools are doing with all those African children? Sticking them in special ed because they don't want to hire an ESOL teacher and they know the parents don't know their rights. If your child has a speech impediment, I don't have a problem with them getting speech therapy. Because when you have a speech and language impairment, you do not go to a special ed class. You get speech therapists from the speech pathologist. Is it special ed? Yes, it's still special ed. You are in a special ed program, but you don't go to a special ed class. So I don't have a problem with speech therapy because you don't go to a class for that. They'll still get a regular high school diploma. And if I didn't mention that earlier, if your child is in special ed, part-time or full-time special ed, they will not be getting a high school diploma. Quote me, write it down, and listen to the white folks if you want. If your child is in special ed in America and they're black and they're in special ed part-time or full-time, that means they spend half of their instructional week with special kids to all of their instructional week with special kids. They will not get a regular diploma. Special ed kids don't get diplomas no more in America, and nobody's telling you, because if they told you, you wouldn't let them put your child in special ed. So Umar Johnson is telling you now, keep your damn kids out of special ed. So we talked about autism, mental retardation, emotional disturbance, speech and language impairment, the learning disability. So that leaves what? The nice disabilities. Blindness, that's real. We ain't got to argue over that. All of us can tell a blind child when we see one. Deafness, that's real. We ain't got to argue over that. All of us can see a deaf child when we see one. Developmental delay, orthopedic impairment, multiple disabilities, traumatic brain injury. I don't have to spend time on those for two reasons. Number one, they're real. They're obvious. They're not made up out of thin air like the learning disability and ADHD. If you can't see, you can't see. And the other reason why I don't have to spend a lot of time on them is because they're what we call low incidence. You rarely see a black blind child. You rarely see a black deaf child. You rarely see a black orthopedically impaired child. You rarely see a black traumatic brain injury child. I don't have a problem with those kids being in special ed. They have a real problem that needs real help. That's not my issue. My issue is those other ones. That learning disability that can't nobody prove. That emotional disturbance that can't nobody prove. That mild mental retardation that can't nobody prove. And that so-called ADHD. Ain't no daddy at home. Now, I'm going to read you some of the side effects of the medication. But before I do, let me finish telling you what we're going to teach at the school. So we're going to give them a financial curriculum. We're going to give them an agricultural curriculum. We're going to give them a political and military science curriculum. We're going to teach your children the art of self-defense. We're also going to teach them white supremacy. I want your kids to know why Obama is president and ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. I want your children to know why homosexuality is being pushed in the black community. I want your children to know why black men are filling up the jails like crazy. I want them to know why black women have the highest infant mortality rate in the Western world. Black women have been having babies longer than any other woman on the face of this earth, and now you don't know how to do it right no more, so much so that more of your kids are coming out dead than the children of any other race, even when you control for social economic status. I want them to know why. I want them to know why Officer Darren Wilson didn't go to jail for killing our brother Michael Brown. I want them to know why. I want them to know why George Zimmerman didn't go to jail for killing Trayvon. I want them to know why. And the reason is because America is at war with the black man. You do not go to jail for carrying out your responsibilities to your state. That's why no police will ever go to jail for killing a black man, because war has been declared on the black man. It's the black man who simply won't accept it. What do we celebrate this December, black folks? We celebrate 150 years of freedom. Did y'all know that? 1865 to 2015, brothers and sisters. Civil War, 1865, it ended. 13th Amendment, 1865, that's when you got it. Slavery, 1865, that's when it ended. This is 2015, 150 years. What do we got? What do we got, black folks? Where's our airplanes? What do we got? Where's our supermarkets? What do we got? Where's our schools? What do we got? Where's our banks? What do we got? 150 years of freedom. Whatever. You doing worse now than you did when you came off the damn plantation. We doing worse now. We definitely doing worse than we were doing before the Civil Rights Movement. Ain't no question about that. Because when we were segregated, every black man had a job. When we were segregated, all the fathers was home. But we bought into the illusion of inclusion. We gave up our independent black communities and integrated with white folks, and look what you got. Mind you, America has never had a desegregation, has never had an integration movement. America has only had a desegregation movement. You got to understand the difference. I'm going to say it again. America has never had an integration movement. America has only had a desegregation movement. What am I talking about? Desegregation is when you remove the barriers to access. We're going to desegregate the schools. We're going to change the laws that say you can't go. That's deseg. Integration. I'm going to make sure you get the opportunity to attend. Are y'all following me? America has never guaranteed opportunity for black folk in either its institutions or mainstream society. America has only desegregated. It has never integrated. It has never integrated. It has never integrated. It only desegregated. Nobody told us to give up our independent black schools. Nobody told you to shut down those independent black schools. They might have been dilapidated. They might have been underfunded. They might have been not so pretty, but our kids still learn. I would rather put my child in a dilapidated one-room schoolhouse with a black teacher who cared than put them in the prettiest school in Nevada with a bunch of non-African teachers who can't stand them. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all out here with the Latinos and Mexicans. I ain't got nothing against them. But I do know this. In Philadelphia, we got a section of the city that's all Latino. But black kids who live in that neighborhood, that's their neighborhood school, they might get treated worse in the all Latino schools than they get in the all white schools. They might get treated worse in the all Latino schools than they do in the all white schools. I'm just giving it to you real. It's a whole nother type of racism. People with black blood who don't want to be black being racist towards folks who know they're black. I'm just giving it to you real. There was no Hispanic before 1970. The United States government created that. Hispanic ain't nothing but a black person who speaks Spanish who don't want to be the hell black. Puerto Ricans are just as African as the rest of us, but they don't want to be. They got a light skin supremacy problem. Cubans too. My great grandfather Cuban, I know all about them too. Don't want to be black. So y'all got it twice out here. Because y'all got the white folk and then y'all got the brown folk who want to be like the white folk. And they earn their brownie points by stepping on your back. But yet you want to have a multicultural coalition. You're crazy as hell. Those people don't like you no more than white folks do. That's right. They just as racist. You ain't got nobody but yourself. Stop trying to line up with all these other people of color thinking they're going to help you. They can't stand you. They came to America to replace you. Now, we also going to teach your children dietary and nutritional science. I want our children to be masters of healing the body without no pharmaceuticals from the drugstore. I want that little boy back there, if mommy not feeling well, he can go out to the yard, get some herbs, boil it, put a little honey in it, little cayenne pepper, and knock mommy flu right on out. I want them to be able to heal diabetes. 10 years old, and they know how to heal diabetes. That's what I want in my school. That's what we working towards. So far, we raised $250,000. I'm gracious, but I'm not content because I know y'all got a lot more to give me than some $250,000. When Darren Wilson killed Michael Brown, white folks gave him $300,000 in 3 weeks for his defense. And Dr. Umar Johnson is trying to build a state-of-the-art school for black boys that y'all all know I need. And after 6 months, I only got $250,000. Trifling ass black people. I'm gonna call it like I say it. And I don't care if you get offended. We can handle that outside. We trifling. I should have been had that $2 million. I should have had that $2 million 30 days after I started the fundraiser on May the 20th. If it don't make no sense. But y'all sure call me up when the school's messing with your son. Did you make a donation to my school? Oh, not yet. Bye. Click. That's the new Umar. You want some help with your son? Did I get a donation? Now I want to hear that. Mail the donation, then you call me back, and then I'll help you with your son. But you're not going to use me to fight white folks when your son shouldn't even have to put up with them in the first place. We trying to buy the St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia. Still available. I was in communication with the president about 3 days ago. He told me the school's still an option. But now they're trying to sell the school into pieces. Now they're trying to sell the student center. If they sell that student center, I don't even want the rest of the school no more because the student center is the best thing on the campus. Day before yesterday, I was in Port Gibson, Mississippi. The NAACP invited me down there because they have a school for sale. Chamberlain Hunt White Military Academy. Nice school too. It's not as big as St. Paul's, but it'll work. So I'm just hoping y'all help me raise this $2 million before somebody buy them schools. That's what I'm hoping. Okay? So if you need the information to mail in a check or donation, if you brought a check or money order, make it payable to FDMG Academy. Make sure your name, address, and phone number is on your donation. I really don't want cash. I prefer to have a paper trail with your donation. But if you got to make it cash, you need to put it in a piece of paper, wrap it up. Do not give me raw cash. Put it in a piece of paper with your name, your phone number, your email address on it. Why? Because when we...
So guys, I hope you have watched and listened to that video from Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson, he is usually known as the Prince of Pan-Africanism because of fighting the rights of the black people in America and also fighting the rights of the black people all over the world. Where the black people they are, Dr. Umar Johnson usually come out and fight the right of the black people. So guys, Dr. Umar Johnson, he has come out and talk about the issues that they are affecting the Black Americans in the United States. Especially, he has come out and talk about how the Black children, they are being treated in the United States. So these Black children, they are being given low scores, even if these people, the Black children, they are brave, they are more better than the white people, than the white children. They cannot be given more scores than the white folks. So these are some of the challenges and the struggle that even the Black children, they are facing in the United States. And also, Dr. Umar Johnson is coming out and talk about how the white people, they have brought a new racism about the numbers. They are using right now the numbers to show racism to the Black people, because even he has come out and explained how the Black people that are being used, if they want to go in a test, if the Black people, they want to get a job, they must go through a test. And this test, these people, they are the ones who are using this test to not to employ the Black people, because in the test they are being given, they will be give them a low minimum scores. This is to tell you that these people right now, they know that Black people, they have been they are brave people. Black people, they are strong people. So these people, if they want to not to employ Black people, or if they want to give Black people less opportunity in some of the jobs, they usually tell them to go for a test. And this test, they will come out and say, Black people, you are not qualified because your test result, it is this one, you have scored a low, so we can't employ you. So that's because of using this test, it has made a lot of Black people to lose jobs in the to these white folks. And you can see these white folks, they can, if they are using this test to their fellow people, they are automatically they are going to give their fellow white people more scores. So this is tell you that Black people, these people, they are coming with the new tactics, with the new racism each and every day. So Dr. Umar Johnson is coming out and tell us, Black people, we should be very careful with these white folks, because these people, they don't love us until now. And also, we need to come together so that we can become strong. You know, we usually believe when people that are coming together, there's power, and also there's a strong energy and power when people, they are coming together. And also, Dr. Umar Johnson, he has come out and talk about how President Barack Obama, so many Black people, they believe that Barack Obama is going to improve and to give more opportunity to the Black people. So majority of Black people, they really loved President Barack Obama, to a point where they saw that Barack Obama is coming to save them in America. So majority of them, they voted in for Barack Obama. Barack Obama became the president, but Barack Obama, he didn't work according to the will of the Black people. He sidelined the Black people, and he went ahead also to give more opportunity to the white folks. So Barack Obama, he left office without doing the will of the without helping Black people in the United States. Until now, majority of Black people, they are not happy with what Barack Obama he did. He was putting the white folks on top of the Black people, despite Barack Obama being a Black American. So this is tell you that majority of Black Americans also, they were not happy with how Barack Obama was sidelining the Black Americans. And also Dr. Umar Johnson, he has come out and talk about how the Barack Obama sidelined the Black people. So we Black people, we fell in love with Barack Obama, but we didn't exactly, if we knew that Barack Obama is not going to work according to the will of the people, to the will of the Black people, we Black people, we didn't we regret voting in for Barack Obama. So those are some of the regret and some of the things that Dr. Umar Johnson is coming out and talk about in America. And also one thing I really love about Dr. Umar Johnson is that fearless Pan-Africanism in the United States. He always come out and reveal the challenges and the struggle that the Black Americans they are facing in the United States. So Dr. Umar Johnson, he has opted to teach and to educate Black people to know their right. He has talked about Black people coming together, because he has said that why is it in the United States the voice of the Black people, it is very hard to be heard with these white folks, because when the Mexican, when the Asian, when the Chinese, they want their voices to be heard in the United States. Their voices, it is being heard quickly. If they have some issues, their issues, it is being solved very easy, because these other races, they are unite. But when it comes to the Black folks, when they are raising their issue, it is not being heard very easy, because these people, they usually know that the Black people, they are not united. The Black people, they are not together. So they usually ignore the challenges and the struggle of the Black people, because they know that Black people, they are not united. So Dr. Umar Johnson is coming out and calling Black people to unite, because if the Black Americans, they will unite, their voices also it be heard very easily, and their problems will be solved very easy. So these are some of the things that Dr. Umar Johnson, he's telling us Black people, he's educating us Black people. And also you have seen how the Black starting from the Black children, they are being treated in the United States. Already Dr. Umar Johnson, he has talked about, and also you have seen how the schools of the Black children, they are being treated, because the people who are funding the Black school, it is the Black people. The Black people that are the ones who are really funding the Black school, because the white people, they don't want to put more funds to the Black school, because they don't want Black schools to do more better than the white schools. So these people, they have ignored so many Black schools in the United States, and because of that, we have been seeing majority of Black people coming out raising funds just to fund the Black school. And these people, they don't when they see the Black school, they are becoming more better, they usually go ahead and give the low scores to these Black school. So kindly guys, I don't want to talk too much. Subscribe if you haven't, like this video, share, and also comment. Let's talk more on the comment section. And also guys, you can like this video, because when you like this video, according to the YouTube algorithm, it will spread this video to a lot of people, so that they can know exactly the challenges and the struggle the Black Americans they are facing. And also this video, it is for educational purpose. I'm not spreading any form of fighting between the white race and the Black race. No, this it is education for the educational purpose. And also we are teaching our fellow Black races and also the white races to respect the Black folks, and also to see the Black folks as the one of them, as the human being, because we are all human being. The things that it is different from us, it is just the color. So kindly guys, subscribe. Let's talk more on the comment section. See you on my next one. Bye bye.